session we will discuss Civics chapter 2, Saline features of the Constitution. Children, in this chapter we mainly discuss the topic fundamental rights and fundamental duties. So before that we discuss what are single citizenship and universal adult franchise. We have already discussed the single citizenship in the previous chapter. What is that? Country like America and all, they have double citizenship. They have to get citizenship for the state and also for the countries. So they should have one person as an individual, he should have two citizenship. But in India, we have only one citizenship. You can go anywhere freely without any restriction. You can reside anywhere, you can do your job anywhere. So you are free to go any part of the country without any restriction, and you are considered as the citizen of the whole country. But you see, but during this period of lockdown, you are not free to move everywhere. So there are some restricted area by the government for the safety of the society and citizens that we need to follow. Otherwise, we are we know that what the normal life when we were free to move. So that is what single citizenship. And next is that universal adult franchise. Here, what do you mean by universal adult franchise? You class 9 children will get the voting for the election. That is means when you are 18 years, you become 18 years old. So at that time you will start casting your vote. So the person as a citizen of the country means he has got the right to cast his vote after the age of 18 years. Means without any difference, without any discrimination. Either you are belonging to a poor family, or you are a girl or boy or rich, whatever may be, and without any discrimination, all the citizens are given the right to cast their vote. So that means the citizens are given the power to become the part of the government with this provision. That is called what? Universal adult franchise. So you understood that what is single citizenship and universal adult franchise. Single citizenship is means in India we need to have only one citizenship and we are treated as the citizen of the country. Next is that universal adult franchise means the voting right after the completion of 18 years is given to all category of people without any discrimination. But if you are a foreigner, the person from abroad, they will not be allowed to cast their vote here. They do not have any voting right. Otherwise, if you are a citizen of the country, after 18 years, you have the right to cast your vote. You can be the part of the government, electing the government. And next is that fundamental rights and fundamental duties. So before knowing the fundamental rights and duties, we should know about the Constitution. You see, Constitution has a long book, isn't it? It's the rule book, and it is a lengthiest Constitution. It has got right now at the time of commencement. It had only 12 volume. Okay, 12 volume, 12 parts. But right now, at present, it has got 25 parts, 12 schedule and 448 articles. Now, what do you mean by this 12 parts, 25 parts, 12 schedule and 448 articles? Let us discuss. So children, in order to get a better understanding about what is Constitution, I am just showing the pages of our Constitution in this screen record. So you see the first page of our Constitution. It begins with preamble. Preamble means the introductory part of the Constitution. It's just like a mirror. It shows, it contains the essence and nature and character of the Constitution. So it begins with we the people of India. So it begins with the key word we the people. From itself we understand that we people are the supreme power of the country. Then another key word it is mentioned here is that what? Sovereign. Sovereign means India is an independent nation. We are no more under the control of any foreign power. So we are independent
nation, and the power is vested in the hand of people of India. And then socialist. Socialist means what? Economic equality. Here it is meant by socialist. That means equality in every spheres of life of Indians. Then secular. Secular means what? We do not have any particular religion like. But all the religions are equally respected in our country. That is the meaning of the term secular. The next is the word mentioned here is that what? Democratic. So you understood democratic republic. So that India is a nation which are ruled by the representatives, elected representatives. So that we are enjoying all kind of freedom, that fundamental rights in our country. So these are all about the preamble, keywords which are mentioned in the preamble. Then other keywords are just like justice, liberty, equality, opportunity, fraternity. All these keywords are mentioned in our preamble. So it gives a clear-cut idea about the constitution, what are all points mentioned in our constitution. So but we don't have to study the preamble in our portion, we have to study. So here what is the next comes part 1, the union and its territory. Very clearly mentions about the union and its powers, and which are the part of the which are the areas, geographical areas comes under the Union of India. All these are mentioning in part 1. This also we don't have to study, but we have to study this also not there. Part 2 citizenship, this is mentioning in our chapter, but the articles and all we are not studying in detail. And next is that part 3, fundamental rights. This is what we have to study in the lesson. So it means in this chapter, all through the chapter we are studying about the different articles of this part 3. Now what do you mean by article? You can see on the left side there are numbers given. It begins with the definition, and then you see right to equality, you can see here. So under the fundamental rights we study about right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion. All these comes under the fundamental rights. So here the left side the numbers are given, means they are all articles. So in order to make certain points very clear, articles are mentioned here. So number of articles are there consisting in our constitution. We already discussed India is a nation of different religion, caste, language speaking people. So everybody's needs to be satisfied. So in order for that reason we need to bring lot of rules and regulation provisions in our constitution. That is the reason we have a lengthiest constitution. So you understood what are parts of the constitution, then what are articles of the constitution, which is the next part shown in the page. You can see here part 4, that is directive principles of state policy. You see in your civics textbook, second chapter is fundamental right, and third chapter what you have to study in civics is that this chapter, that is a part 4 of the constitution, that is directive principles of state policy, that we will discuss when we discuss the chapter. So you have got an idea of part and article of the constitution. Then schedule I am not showing here. Now understand what is schedule means. In the textbook, in our textbook, class textbooks and all, you see the list sometimes in a box, and a list may be given. So what is that? List means what? Sometimes, for example, state and its capital, the list is given. Otherwise scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, it mentions in the article, in the part, but to make it clear which are the category of people belongs to scheduled tribe and scheduled caste, the separate lists are provided by the constitution. Those lists are called schedules. So I hope that this point is very clear to you all.
Recording, you understood that which are the part of the constitution, then what is the schedule and articles. Now it will be easy for us to understand this topic. That is, we are going to discuss now the part. So the fundamental rights are included with which part? We clearly saw that part 3 of the constitution. So we are learning about the part 3 of the constitution, that is so one of the important fundamental rights is that right to equality. And right to equality is included with which are the article comes under the right to equality. Suppose if you want to refer the right to equality directly in the constitution, you have to search for the article 14 to 18. You get all the information about right to equality. Now, what is the right to equality? You know, from the term itself, it's very clear that all should be treated equally without any discrimination. Again, further clarifications are given regarding the right to equality to make this point very clear under 14 to 18 articles. That is equality before law. That means all are equal before the law. That means we said no. From the Prime Minister to President, or either he is a higher official or common man or poor man, all should be treated equally. Suppose two person should not be, if two person are punished for the same crime, they should be given the same punishment, not the different punishment. Like the similar way, anywhere any citizen, and means you see that there should not be any kind of inequality, and they should be treated either you belong to any caste or creed or religion, you should be treated as a citizen of the country, and you should be treated them equal. So that means no discrimination, especially before law. That means if you go to the court and judge or lawyer or anybody cannot treat you in a different manner, and cannot treat the persons two criminals in different way. And next is that equality of opportunity. What is the equality of opportunity? We have got a lot of opportunities in our country, and if you have got your own goals and set of aims and objectives, you can work for it to attain those aims and goals and objectives in your life. So that what is it? If you have got suppose anywhere, if you approach suppose any for a institution for admission or any other place, and the citizen should not be treated in a different way. Suppose if you are a right candidate, you are deserving candidate, you should be given preference, and you should be given an opportunity depending upon your ability and capability and capacity. That means what? All are given equal opportunity. That means what are if you are a talented person, you can try hard for achieving your dreams. That is what equality of opportunity. So that means another example is that suppose any institution, if you go for admission and all, there they cannot show any kind of discrimination. There you have to see, they have to see that who is the deserving candidate, then that person should be given. Now article 15 we did not discuss, that is a part of equality before law, that is regarding the admission of the so each and every point is mentioned here, isn't it? This is particular article is regarding the admission in some schools or colleges. No discrimination should be given to any candidate regarding giving the admission. Suppose the rule is that the merit base it is to be given. So that merit base, that base rule should be followed. Next is abolition of untouchability. Now what is abolition of untouchability? Ancient period, there was a caste system followed. We learned that from Vedic period onwards, caste system existed in our country. After that, even now in some places the system is followed. Some places means different caste people are there. This feeling is still there with some kind of people, narrow-mindedness. Now, what is that? So in those days, lower class people, they were considered as untouchables. So they were considered as a downtrodden people. They were kept away from the social life, and the roads were not used by such people. They were not allowed to use public wells. So such kind of ill treatment to the society. So such kind of ill treatments cannot be done, or such kind of untouchability cannot be followed in our country. That is punishable. And next is their abolition of titles. So number of titles at the time, Bahadur Shah, like Nana Sahib, so like different titles were there. Number of rulers, their titles were there. So these titles and also some higher class people and also use some title, but these titles were abolished. Why? Because that is against of the equality before law or equality before opportunity, etc. Why? Because all should be treated equally in the society, so that no one can use such kind of title, special title like Maharaja, the Raja, or such kind of title to show their position in the society. But some titles are there given by the government to some of the citizens, like Bharat Ratna and all. That is a title, so that title will remain. But other than that, no title which bring about inequality in the society cannot be used by anybody with their name. And next is that right to freedom. So we discuss about right to equality. You understand this in so even though there are number of articles, you understand that what is right to equality. There should be, all the citizens should be treated equally in all the spheres of life in the society, and no discrimination should be there, and no person or no citizen should be exploited on the ground of this right to equality. And next is that right to freedom, which are the articles comes under Article 19 to 22. So Article 19, now we focus only on Article 19. So Article 19 consists of 6 basic freedom. Which are the 6 basic freedom mentioned under the right to freedom. See here, speech and expression, freedom of speech, and you have the freedom to express your viewpoints. Already we discussed about it, isn't it? So we have got the freedom of press. You can write about any issue of the country. You can speak any issue of the country. You can criticize the government. So like that, you can express your viewpoint, your ideas and thought. So nobody will restrict you from doing that. Only the thing you have to be careful of that, you should not hurt the feeling of somebody. So otherwise you have the freedom of speech and expression. And next is that assembly, you have the freedom of to assemble peacefully. That means assemble peacefully. Suppose for any common purpose or interest, you can come in a group and you can form a association or a institution, and so that means freedom to assemble for a common purpose. We have freedom to form the groups or association in order to safeguard the interest. So nobody will stop you from that, but that should be peaceful assembling. That should not be against of the coin. If you are violent, that assembles of the group meeting or the gathering is turning violent, means that is against of the constitution. So it should be a peaceful assembly. Next is that associations. You have the right to form the associations. That means associations are like trade unions, teachers associations, students association. Different associations are there formed to protect the rights of the particular section. So if you want for that, you have the freedom to go for it, to safeguard your right and interest, and also show the strength of your category. And next is that move freely. What is it? Move freely. So we have got the special freedom to go any part of the country freely, indefinitely. But now you see recently the trains and buses around have stopped. Why? Because of the particular reason, that pandemic, breakage of this pandemic. So that is what move freely. So we have got the freedom to move freely all around anywhere in India. Next, you also have got the freedom to settle in any part of India. So other than that, you have also got the freedom to do any kind of profession. Nobody will question you from doing any kind of profession. You can also select any branch of study and you can do that. You can settle there, you can go free. So all these are the 6 basic freedom which are enjoyed by the citizen of our country. So here now we discuss under the fundamental rights part 3. We discuss which are the 2 basic fundamental rights. They are the right to equality and right to freedom. So in right to equality means all the citizens should be treated equally, equal everywhere, no inequality or any kind of discrimination before law or in the ground of opportunity. In the level of society or So no title or such kind of points are mentioned here. And next is that right to freedom. Also we discussed about 6 basic freedom. Now we move towards the next fundamental right. So we discussed the right to equality. Now this is right to freedom. This is second fundamental right. Right to equality is over, and next is the right to freedom. Why it is written here again is that we have to discuss a limitation of right to freedom. You see, 6 basic freedoms are given under right to freedom, but it has got limitations. So these are not absolute. Why not absolute? This can be suspended under certain circumstances. This right to freedom can be suspended. Sometimes curfew is declared in some places. Now recently, due to that, very good example, this particular season that we are restricted, the movement, freedom of movement is restricted. So why? Because of the due to a certain situation, not to protect the safeguard the safety or interest of the citizen and the government. So that is what. So right to freedom can be suspended under certain situation, so that what is that during the period of emergency and also under other situation, like so that means right to freedom are not absolute. They can be suspended at any time if the situation arises or need arises. That is why here we say that it has got certain limitations. So it can be suspended during the emergency period, so that we call it as right to freedom as not absolute. Why? Because it can be suspended anytime. And next is the right against exploitation. It comes under the article 23 to 24, right? Like child trafficking, women harassment, sexual exploitation, child labor, all these comes under the right against exploitation. So you have the freedom from exploitation. If you are exploited in any way, you have the right to get free from the exploitation. You can approach the court or the authorities to be freed from such kind of exploiters. So nobody in the society can exploit other individuals or society or the group of people. And next is that right to freedom of religion. So as a citizen of the country, you have the freedom to follow any religion. Nobody can ask you that for what reason you belong to this religion, or why you converted your religion, why you want to nobody can stop you from worshipping your particular god or going to a temple or church. It is your wish. It is up to you. Especially once you are an adult citizen, you have the complete freedom. Like that, no restriction for anybody from the side of constitution or our country for following any religions other than so. But we are living in the society, we have to follow certain social norms, so we are bounded by certain religion and certain conditions and background. Otherwise we are free from all these religious boundaries, and you can follow. It is up to you, either you follow or do not follow, or you follow any religion. And next is cultural and educational rights. So what is it? Cultural and educational rights. So this is the second fundamental right, and this is the third one, and this is the fourth one, and next is the fifth. We will discuss fifth, sixth and seventh fundamental right. Now, cultural and educational rights means what is that? You have the freedom to preserve your culture, custom, tradition. Nobody will question you from following your custom and tradition, and also for preserving. Even especially some community, when they can establish their own institution and all in order to preserve their cultural and all. So educational, cultural and educational rights. So they have got then next is the right to constitutional remedy. What is that right to constitutional remedy? In suppose if your fundamental rights, so we have been discussing about all these fundamental rights. Okay, so your fundamental rights are violated, this is one of the important part of the fundamental right. It is this fundamental right which protect the rights of the citizen. How? Because if your fundamental rights are violated, you can approach the court. The court is there, High Court, Supreme Court, or lower courts are there to protect your fundamental rights. How? This particular fundamental rights issue the writs to the court. What is the writ? Writs are the particular right for the court to issue the order. So through the writs, the courts, they protect the fundamental rights. We will discuss about writs in detail in another session. Writs and fundamental duties we will be discussing in one session. So right to constitutional remedy means what is that? This is what is it? You have got means you can approach the court, means your fundamental rights are safeguarded through this fundamental rights. So what is that? You can approach the court. There are constitutional remedy. If your freedom is violated, fundamental rights are violated, you can approach the court. There are remedies. What should be done? You can approach the court, so that court is a safeguarder of your court is the guardian of your fundamental rights. So court can ensure your fundamental rights. And next is that cultural and educational. So we already discussed, sorry. Now discuss right to education. So that means right to education means it is up to you that you can go for the higher education. You can choose any branch of study. You have got enough possibility and opportunities in our country to reach any stream of life. So that is what? A right to education. And also there should not be any discrimination done by any institution to any student in giving admission or treating a child in the school and all. So this is what right to education. So these are all the points under the fundamental rights. So which are the fundamental rights? First one we learned that right to equality, and second one is right to freedom. The right to freedom is absolute. There are 6 basic freedom we have discussed. Freedom of movement, freedom of possession, all that. 6 basic freedom. So that is why it can be suspended at the time of emergency and other situations. So we call it as right to freedom are not absolute. And next is the right against exploitation we discussed, and then right to freedom of religion, and then cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies, and right to education. So we are concluding the lesson here, children. And writs, we will discuss the writs and the fundamental duties in another session. If you have got any queries and all, you can ask me through WhatsApp and through other means. And please follow the lesson and write down the question answers and everything in your copy.